Hi, I'm Nick from Twin Trees Creative. We're going to make this image transform. Let's go from this to this. So let's talk about how we got from the original image to this one, what changes we made within the camera and to the lighting within the room to leave us with a much more professional looking and sounding image. So let's start at the start. Both the camera and the lens are by no means cheap, but hopefully by the end of this video what you'll see is that by making subtle changes to your lighting and settings within your camera body, you're going to get a much more professional look. And actually a lot of these things are things that you could do with a much cheaper camera body and lens. Everything you can hear so far has come through the inbuilt microphone on the 6D Mark II. We need to do something about that. As much as it serves a purpose, it just isn't good enough. So we're going to use the Rode VideoMic Pro. We're going to put this onto our camera and you're going to hear significant difference and improvement straight away. Okay, so now what you're hearing now is myself through the Rode VideoMic Pro. Hopefully you should hear a massive difference. If there isn't, then I'll get my money back, but I'm pretty sure there will be. This is one of the biggest pieces of advice that I could give you. The audio quality to all of your video content is so important. Whether you're talking directly to a microphone or a client is, whether you're adding some epic sound design to a promo video or some B-roll footage, the audio makes a massive impact on the person that's listening at the other end. In fact, without having changed anything visually, I'm pretty sure any of you watching this video right now will already think this video is more professional. So let's move on to the next stage. So what you've currently got is quite a flat image. There is no real separation. We're currently shooting at 6.3 aperture and we are currently at ISO 800. So in an ideal world, I'd bring my ISO down closer to the native ISO for the EOS 6D Mark II. We're going to want to create some separation between myself in the foreground and what's behind me in the background, which we do by changing and actually lowering down the f-stop. This lens can go down to 1.4, so let's take a look at what that looks like. Okay, wow, what an image, eh? What an improvement. So just bear with me. We've gone down to 1.8 on our aperture now, which you can already see more clarity on myself compared to the background. So you're getting that real depth of field now, and you're getting a bit of bokeh on the lighting and some of the images behind my left shoulder. We now need to move the ISO down because clearly it's shut out all of the light that's coming on my face and it's now overexposed. So let's just reduce the ISO down now in line with the aperture change that I've made and see what that gives us. Okay, so I've pulled the ISO right down now to 200. We've got an aperture of 1.8, but as you can see, the harshness of the light to my right leaves a lot of nasty shadows and it's far too bright on my face here. Let's look at what we can do with our lighting now then. So we're currently using, to the right of me for our key light, a Neewer LED light. I've got it turned down pretty much as low as it will go, and you can just see it's far too harsh, and my face is blown out. So we need to diffuse that first of all. So I'm gonna actually use this, which is a diffuser we've got for another piece of lighting. And I'm actually gonna put that over the LED, and you'll see a major difference. Let's take a look. So the diffuser is now over the LED light and you can see a much softer image onto the right hand side of my face. There's still some huge shadows to the left of my face though. We've only got a little bit of backlighting. So we need to do something to introduce some light to the left hand side of me. It's a bit too dark and moody for the look that we're going for. So one of the things we can do to do that is introduce a hair light. I could introduce another key light to the front of me over there, but we want to introduce another hair light so we just get a soft lighting of my hair, my ear, and I guess my shoulder. So let's just see what that looks like. Okay, so we've got our second Neewer LED now to the left of me, and that's acting as the hair light. And as you can see, it's just added a bit of definition down my neck and the side of my face without it being too overpowering. Again, I've used the diffuser to cover that to give us a more subtle lighting effect. Got some lights in the background that you can see over my shoulder. We've actually got a few more lights that we can use, so let's just see the impact of them. Okay, so we're starting to get somewhere now. That just adds a bit of interest, and again you can see that nice bokeh and separation from the foreground, again, which is me, and the background, which is behind me. We now need to do to make this image look better. As we made adjustments to the lighting in the foreground and the background, it's now left the white balance of my skin looking slightly blue, so we need to make adjustments to that. Best way to adjust your white balance, in my opinion, is to get a custom white balance. So here we go. We've made some significant adjustments to the camera, the aperture, the ISO, the lighting as our key light, the hair light. We've changed some of the background lighting we've got there. and we just made changes to our white balance, and you can see, or hopefully you can see, a huge difference to the image that we've now got. The image overall is just a lot warmer. It's much truer to the white balance that you'd see if you were here in the room, and overall I no longer look dead, so that's quite a good thing. So this is a decent shot. It's certainly much better than the original shot. We're going to add one more change, which is to the lighting to the far background. We've got this small aperture LED light, and it comes with a series of gels. So we're going to put the blue gel, we're just going to place that almost directly behind me, so that's just going to create some light and pull out a few more details of the things that you can't really see that are in the background. There's some paintings, pictures on the wall, canvases, and then there's some guitars and bits and pieces. So we're just going to bring a little bit more light to that background so that it doesn't look so big a contrast from the foreground to the background. So let's take a look. Okay, there we go. So we just added a blue hue to the background. It's not too overpowering, and it just adds a bit more flavour to the rest of the image. So just to overview, the two lights that we've got here, the main key light and the hair light, cost about £100. There's stands that come with them. But again, they're Niwa, they're pretty cheap, but really reliable, and we use a lot of their products. And the small light that we've got in the background cost about £40–50. Hopefully what this video has shown you is that with some simple adjustments to your settings within your camera, some adjustments to the audio equipment that you use, whether that's a attached microphone or a boom mic or a lav mic, and some real simple changes to your lighting setup, you can get an image that is more than usable and actually looks a lot more professional and sounds a lot more professional than what you'd have otherwise.